About 6 months ago, on October 16th, 2014, I sent Keith Habersberger the following message. Are you the real BuzzFeed, Keith? I'm a huge fan. For those of you who don't spend hours on the internet every day, Keith Habersberger is a famous producer, actor, and director for the popular website BuzzFeed. Because I'm a nerd who occasionally sends fan mail to celebrities I'm not so secretly in love with, one night I decided to message Keith. Little did I know that this time I would receive a response. A mere 3 hours later, Keith sent me a message that would change my life. Yeah, thanks, smiley face. Again, because I'm a nerd, I got really excited and replied, oh my God, you responded? Seriously, top 10 moments of my life. You guys are so awesome. I've been obsessed with your videos lately. Really meaning forever. Little did Keith know that this time he would actually receive an intriguing idea. Later that night, Keith told me that he would pitch my idea for a video concept to his team. I must admit, at this point I squealed a little bit. I knew that something big was on the horizon. But let's take a step back for a minute. At this point in my life, I was overworked, malnourished, and completely in denial about my situation. When people sleep, their heart rate naturally drops. My body would not allow me to sleep because if my heart rate had dipped any lower, I would have died. Thus, I spent hours escaping my troubles on BuzzFeed every night. The internet provided me with relief, comfort, and laughter during a very dark time in my personal life. BuzzFeed articles and videos portrayed the human experience in a way that made me feel less lonely, even if they didn't tell my exact story. I longed at the time to help others feel comfort and feel understood in any way I could. A little over 5 months after I first messaged Keith, our video was published on BuzzFeed. After that, it wasn't long before it was syndicated by Yahoo, Twitter, YouTube, and a bunch of other social media websites I haven't even been able to keep up. I was interviewed by the top radio show in Southern California a few weeks ago with Bill Carroll, and since then, many other newspapers and radio shows have shared my story. It's been interesting to watch the number of hits climb higher and higher on my laptop, but in some ways it made me feel kind of detached and disconnected from what I had done. My daily life didn't change a bit, but I knew that I was making a difference. I mean, the day I produced my video, I went home and everything was exactly the same, so it didn't really feel real to me. A couple weeks ago, a local newspaper called the Bangor Daily News picked up my story. When I met with the reporter, she told me that she was sharing her experiences because of my video. And I'd say that it was at that point that I realized that people were actually responding to what I had said. Seeing others in person finding hope and value in themselves has definitely inspired me to keep fighting and to be happy. It's very difficult to convey all of these thoughts in the span of 4 minutes or even a 12-minute TED Talk. However, I'm going to try. So if you take away nothing else today, please remember the following 6 points. Number 1, there is hope. On the days that seem impossible, remember what you're fighting for and keep that with you. Those days filled with joy. You're recovering not only your health, both physical and emotional, but your happiness. Recovery is indescribably difficult. Every day, every minute, every meal, every bite is a struggle. But remember that you are not alone in this battle. Number 2, you still have to fight every single day. Sometimes I lose, but more often I win. Remember point number 1. Number 3, eating disorders should not be shameful, and seeking recovery absolutely is nothing to be ashamed of. Telling your story and getting help is the bravest thing someone with an eating disorder can do. Yet in the hospital, we still have therapy groups devoted to making up stories about why we were away and where we went. Contracting a disease is not a choice. Having an eating disorder is not something you should be sorry for. You certainly shouldn't have to apologize for getting help. If we don't talk about eating disorders, we perpetuate the illness and the guilt associated with it. Next point, you are not alone. Period. You're just not alone. There are so many other people struggling and so many people that are backing you up right alongside you. I'm backing you up every step of the way. Know that my heart is with you. Next point, people make it really, really hard to recover. Resources are virtually unavailable. Each time I've been hospitalized for months at a time, I've gone to Boston. The distance from my family and my friends made the disease all the more isolating. The criteria for coverage of treatment for eating disorders is based entirely on your physical symptoms. So let me repeat that. People can only receive treatment for a mental illness based on their physical symptoms. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. This perpetuates the illness. So if someone's turned away from treatment because they're not sick enough based on how much they weigh, that's telling them to get sicker. We need resources. So that's my rant on that. Next point, recovery is a trade. You are trading weight loss for gain, but also sickness for health, misery for happiness. It is time to let go, and it's okay to let go. It's okay to allow yourself to relax, to feel joy, to be loved. That's okay. You have permission. So for those of you who don't know, what are eating disorders? Eating disorders are diseases, like cancer, like anything. Mental illnesses are not something people choose to do. And eating disorders should not be shameful for that exact reason. There's no reason for someone to feel bad about getting a disease. We would never shame someone for having a physical illness. So why are we shaming people for having mental illness? We need to start a global conversation to connect people and to help them feel understood. And that's what I'm trying to do today. Not all people with eating disorders look like they have eating disorders. That's a stereotype. I have been my most sick at completely healthy weights. So I could look totally normal, but internally I was getting those terrible messages. I was being told by myself that I was unworthy and invaluable, and that's just not true. If we can bring eating disorders out of the shadows and eliminate those stereotypes and basically like prejudices and shame around them, we can prevent them and treat them. People with eating disorders can't just eat. This is a disease. This is not something we're choosing. We don't want to be miserable over being happy. No one in their right mind would say, oh, I think I'd rather be sad than be happy. I think I'd rather, not eat than eat. The fact of it is, anyone who tells you they don't like food is lying. Food is great. This is coming from me. I have anorexia. And food is good. It's the effects. It's how it makes you feel. That's where the mental illness comes in. It's not about weight. It's not about what you eat or don't eat. It's about how you are feeling. I shared my story because I wanted to show the world that I refuse to be embarrassed about having an eating disorder. I have nothing to be ashamed of. I was terrified about how it would be received, and I still feel really self-conscious walking around school. I'm wondering what people are thinking about me and whether they're judging me. And at those times, I try to remember why I produced my video, to show others that they are not alone. I'm not going to lie, I'm still struggling. I'm not recovered, but I am working hard every single day to show people that there's hope. And in my personal life, I'm working really hard too. I'm going to therapy twice a week. My daily life is not easy. I'm not in Colombia right now because traveling is too difficult at this point in my recovery. It's hard to know what to get when you're going out to eat. You can't just be spontaneous and figure out what you're going to eat on the fly with your family. It's a lot of planning. It's a lot of practice. It's a lot of prep. And it takes a lot out of you. Having a disease is something that dominates your life, and it's not easy to live with that. So the outcomes of this video, though, had some unexpected ones. I figured out what I wanted to do with my life, journalism. I came out of the closet, both globally and locally, and yes, I mean to use that phrase, coming out of the closet, because this is like a coming out. It's not easy, it's shameful. And I'm refusing to buy into that. I'm not gonna feel ashamed. I'm gonna come out. It's gonna be hard, but I'm doing it. And another thing is that my family was actually drawn closer together. It really, I say that a lot of people don't understand eating disorders, and that doesn't disclude my family. Families of people with eating disorders often don't understand them, and that makes it a very, very lonely time. Your friends, your family, You're in a bubble. You're in a prison. This disease is like a prison. It literally is a prison. Can't go out to eat. I can't do the things I love. I can't exercise. You know, I'm in a prison right now. But on the positive side, I also gained my own hope and inspiration from producing this video. Receiving messages from people who had recovered and who wanted to connect and inspire others was incredibly motivating to me. And if anyone out there has sent messages, know that I've read each and every word. On a daily basis, I am moved to tears by the outpouring of support that I get on every day. Every day I get new messages. And I just wanted to show others that they're not alone. I wasn't expecting people to help me feel less lonely too. So what can we do now? Well, go home, go to your school, support people with eating disorders in order to stop them from spreading and continuing. Eating disorders are based in anxiety and guilt. Eating disorders are anxiety disorders. If we can at least stop externally shaming people with eating disorders, we can begin to help them change those internal messages that they're receiving. Be supportive, be compassionate, get educated. Know that you are not alone if you are struggling, and this is not shameful. We're all in this together. You've got support. Let's fight this.